Our main speaker tonight is Jeff.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm an alcoholic. I want to thank John in absentia for asking me to do this. Maybe some of you were hoping to hear Bob Regan tonight, but unfortunately, because of what's been happening around town, you get stuck with me. That being said, let's just take a moment, a quick moment, and say a little prayer for everybody that's going through all this drama and all the loss that's happening around us, and know that that God's in charge and we're not. So, what I'm going to do here tonight is tell you what it was like and what happened and what I'm like now. And if you're new, I hope you relate to something I say, or maybe get you out of your head for a minute. And alcoholism is a tough disease. And if you're new, I know you're not having a good time. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. I did not come here because everything was going great. I'll just start at the beginning. I was a liar. It always seemed better to lie than to tell the truth. I don't know what that was. I know today that was my alcoholism before I even had any alcohol in my system. I went to Catholic schools. My parents worked really hard to put me in Catholic schools. And, I was that guy that was up at the lectern reading during Mass. I was an altar boy, but the rest of the time I was a brat. I treated people badly. I was a bully. I bullied my siblings. I was a thief. Nothing was ever good enough for me. I was trying to fix this hole inside of me that I didn't even know I had, and eventually alcohol and drugs fixed that hole. But I did good in school. Like I said, they wanted to send me to the seminary. Little did they know what an evil little guy I was, on the side. But, it was very uncomfortable. I had a lot of issues with, they thought I had an ulcer when I was, in grammar school, just because I was, so anxiety-ridden and so tense and so worried about what people thought about me and was, performing to how I should be. It's just a nightmare, And the only thing that fixed that was alcohol. I started drinking. My first communion, I got drunk on the punch that they had, champagne punch, and that was awesome, and 8 years old? And then, not long after that, I would always drink, sips out of my dad's beer, whatever I could get my hands on, and my family was a lot of alcoholism, back then we lived in the Bay Area, and it would be like going up to San Francisco to the aunt's house, and they'd be drinking highballs, and, they're all, dressed nice, and as the night would progress and the holiday, everybody would get drunker and drunker and start fighting, and they would they'd take my dad's keys away from him, and then now we're driving home in the station wagon in the fog, and he's driving, he didn't let him stop him, and I'm in the back, and I'm going, we're all going to die. And, and then, of course, he's drunk. Up there they had ice plant, and you go sliding into the ice plant like a big cushion, but you're off the road. And to me, that created this anxiety of, I need to have some control. Because my dad's driving, and we're going off the road into the ice plant, and I feel like there's no control. And it just was killing me, And that manifested itself in, I'm severely anal retentive now. My parents would go out for the night, and I would clean the house the way I want it to be. I would get rid of all the tchotchkes and stick them away, and take that dish rack off the sink because I don't like all that clutter. And they'd be like, "What is wrong with you?" They come home and things are rearranged. It just shows you how my mind works without alcohol. I'm still that way a lot today. There are no dishes in my sink right now. So, you know, I started drinking. My dad had a grocery store. He would take me to work. I would go up to that grocery store, and I would work for him. He would pay me a few bucks, but I would just go up there to get the booze, you know? He would take me. I couldn't drive, so he'd take me up in the car, and he would I would sneak alcohol. I would stick it out there under the car and hope that when he went around the corner, it wouldn't clink the bottles, you know? And then I'd get home, and I'd be like, I'm ready to party. But you know what? I was like 11 years old. My friends are not ready to party. They don't understand when I show up at, you know, whatever play date we got, we're going to go out riding our bikes, and I got a bottle of champagne. You know, I knew that I was a little ahead of the curve, you know, and so I just did it on my own, you know. I'd get drunk, and shortly after that, I started to find the people that were my people, you know. In junior high, we started doing that stuff, got in trouble in the Catholic school for sneaking in alcohol, and then after that, I started branching out into what I really loved was drugs and alcohol. Like I said, I'm good with book learning and all that stuff. I can really concentrate and apply myself. But when I started partying, that became what I concentrated and applied myself on. I'm in the library looking everything up, you know. I liked the health classes because they would teach you about all the drugs, and the cops would come and they would bring that big display, and I'd be like, oh, I haven't seen that. Oh, I'm going to try that one, you know. And then you know, at the time, my sister had cancer, so we were spending a lot of time in the hospital. And you know, I didn't want to go there. I didn't like the smell. I didn't like the depressing feeling of going there. And my sister was dying, and my parents were upset. And what do? I'm in their doctor's office, stealing those roach clips and stealing the PDR, you know, because I'm looking up in the book. I want to find out all about the drugs and going in the medicine cabinets, getting everything I could do, you know. That was my nature, because I just did not want to feel the way I felt. And I had found a way to do that, you know. And that also became my social lubricant in many ways. Some people drink a drink and they feel comfortable in a bar. That was true for me. I would go into a bar and, you know, I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm not good enough. I'm a loser. She's not going to go out with me or whatever, you know. And after a couple drinks, I can walk right up to anybody. I'm going out with the hottest girl in that room. After a couple more drinks, screw her. I don't even need her. I don't even need you guys. She's just going to cramp my style. I'm going to have to share my drugs with her. Forget it. I'm going out of here, you know. And that's what alcohol, it changed me so completely. And that's changed my perception. That's what I learned here in Alcoholics Anonymous. Alcohol was my solution. Alcohol and drugs were not my problem. My problem is my alcoholism. My problem is the way I think. My problem is when I was young, I needed something to fix me. I wasn't naturally okay with the way I existed. I needed something to put in me to change that in order to feel comfortable. And I pursued that with a vigor, you know. Now I'm doing a bunch of stuff, you know. Anything I can get my hands on. I'm trying everything. I know singleness of purpose is important in Alcoholics Anonymous, but in this day and age, there's a lot of people here that took a lot of other stuff that brought them here. And for me, that accelerated my alcoholism and got me here sooner. You know, alcohol did not differentiate from everything else I was putting in my body. The only thing about alcohol was it was reliable. It was always going to be the same. I didn't have to worry about, the quality of the weed isn't so good this week. Oh, that guy gave me some bunk acid, you know. Alcohol was always going to give me what I needed to get. So, and then I could get it, you know, from my dad, from my house, whatever. So I continued on that way. I was trying to go to school, and it wasn't working out. I got kicked out of a private high school. I went to the public high school, and I didn't even hardly go. I went to once in a while. You know, if I wanted to apply myself, I get an A in that class, you know. But if I didn't, then the rest of them were withdrawals, D's, F's, and my mom's clueless because I'm writing all these notes. I get the flowery paper out. I'm writing all the notes to the secretary of why I'm not in school. I did her signature better than she did. But there you go. That's my dishonesty. That's my lying. That's my cheating, you know. My parents were suffering at that time because of my sister's illness, and I was a pain in the butt. They would come home from the hospital, and I just took advantage of those situations. There's a kegger going on at the house. My uncle has to come and throw me in the shower because I'm so drunk. I can't even stand up straight, you know. it's not the way you want to be dealing with a son when they're supposed to be supporting you during a hard time, you know? But I was selfish and self-centered. That's my alcoholism. So like I said, I was trying to go to school, but I was not making it. I started going to junior college, and I couldn't show up for class in the morning. I'd go in the afternoon. I would drop classes, you know. It took me 12 years to get through junior college. But I'm a trier, you know. I started working in a grocery store, and I would show up at work, and, you know, I'm your best employee in my mind. I'm stealing from them. I'm showing up late. I'm smoking weed in the cooler and blowing the smoke up into the fan. You know, I'm having my roommates come in and go through my line, and they got a whole basket of groceries, and it's like $20. Take it home, you know. I just had no moral guide in my life because it was all about me. You know, I'm brawling in the streets, drunk because I was drinking those, what are those? Oh, Long Island iced teas, you know, and this is the town, Palo Alto. Stanford University's there. You know, if I had followed the way my parents wanted me to go, I should have been in Stanford University. I should have been in an Ivy League school. But I'm working in the grocery store, and I'm resentful against those Ivy League students that I think are way dumber than me. But, you know, their parents get to know me because I'm the grocery guy, and they're like, well, why don't you go to school? I'm like, don't ask me personal questions like that. You know, I'm dating a bunch of women. I'm cheating on them. I have to hide on aisle 6 because my other girlfriend's on aisle 7, and the one on aisle 9 is chasing me down, too. I have to go hide in the freezer and look through it, and just a nightmare, you know? I'm riding my motorcycle. I lived across the bay. I would ride over this bridge, the Dumbarton Bridge. It goes straight up, and then it goes down again. It goes flat. And when I hit that flat, I'd be going like 130 miles an hour. And I get home, and I can't even put the kickstand down. I lay my bike in the garage, and every time I lay my bike in the garage, I break the clutch lever. But I'm anal retentive. I do not like to have that broken clutch lever. So what do? I go to the Yamaha store, and I bought like 6 clutch levers and put them in the drawer. And as soon as I break that thing, the next day I fix it and everything's good, you know, but I should have been dead. I should have killed somebody. So I came up with this brilliant idea, dug in my deep alcoholic mind, and I wanted to change things. I wanted to finish school. I wanted to do things with my life. And the best thing I came up with is I joined the Army. I went overseas. I was going to get the college fund, and I became a medic. Only when I signed up, what I became was a mechanic. Because I got in the mechanized infantry, and there's not a lot of medical work you're doing in there. You're just fixing your tracked vehicle all the time. So I was wrenching all the time, and I was resentful about that. But I'm in Germany, and I'm traveling, and I'm drinking all over Europe, and I'm having a great time, and it's still not fixing me, you know? I'm just playing a role. I did well in that structure, even though I was drinking and using, and I came back and I had the college money, and I was like, okay, I got to do something. I knew that they gave you 10 years to use your college benefit. I knew that at 9 years and 11 months, I'm probably going to sign up for school. Because that's how I roll, you know. Well, no, I didn't. I did. I came back and I tried to do it, and I did finally get all my general ed requirements out of the way, and I applied for UCLA, and I got in. And I realized, you know what, now I got to do something. I got to change my behavior. I can't continue to go on the way I'm going. And one of my coworkers had just gone to a rehab. I thought, oh, this is good. I'll go there, I'll chill. I'll be able to go to school. I'll go to LA, and I'll be clear-headed, and I'll be able to, like, take advantage of everybody at the bars and the businesses, whatever, because I'll be clear-headed, and they'll still be messed up, you know? But it didn't work that way. I went into that rehab. I went and scouted it out. It had, like, volleyball courts. It was in the redwoods. There was hot chicks at the pool. And I'm like, I could do this, totally. I was even getting paid more money there than I was getting paid when I was working. So I got hoodwinked into getting sober. I went there, and, you know, they took my keys away, and I realized I'm in an institution. No matter how much they dressed it up, they wouldn't let me leave. So, I reluctantly listened to what they had to say. And after a couple weeks, I realized I'm an alcoholic. I've come from a long line of alcoholics. It was so obvious. and I needed to do something about it. And thank God that place told me exactly what I needed to do. They said 90 meetings in 90 days, get a sponsor, get a home group, work the steps, work Alcoholics Anonymous. So I did that. I came down to LA and I started going to UCLA, and I was going to some meetings. I went to a meeting in Westwood, and I'm like, what? They're not offering me a job? They're not offering me a place to live? I'm the newcomer. I'm the most important person in the room. They're barely talking to me. So I heard about this crazy step Nazi group or whatever they were saying. My neighbor was going to this crazy Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in Brentwood, and she said, you should check it out. And I went there, and it was you guys. All the hands and the teeth were coming right at me, shaking the hands. And I met my first sponsor there, Dino Fanenos. I thought he was hitting on me. He wanted to give me his number. He wanted me to go to coffee. What is this? But he was really nice, so I went with him. I knew what the deal was. I learned that in rehab, that I needed to get a sponsor, and I asked that guy to be my sponsor, and he taught me the basics of Alcoholics Anonymous, And I was resistant, and I was too cool for school. I wasn't going to do all the things you said I needed to do here. I have work. I got school. I'm moving and shaking, and that all just came to a disastrous end. Because what happened was, I got a year. Dino passed away. I didn't feel like I had any structure, anybody holding my leash, and I went crazy. And if you're new, it's the biggest lesson I can give you from my own experience as an alcoholic. I didn't drink. I didn't use. I just made bad decisions from my alcoholic mind with no guidance. Within a few months after I turned a year, I had a good job. I quit the job. I stopped going to Alcoholics Anonymous. I stopped calling my sponsor. I met this woman because she was stalking me, so I started dating her. And then she said, "Oh, I'm rich. I'll give you money. I'll take care of your finances." So I let her. She wasn't giving the money. Everything was falling apart. I was getting evicted from my apartment. I didn't know what to do, and so I married her. Because I'm going to get that money. I'm telling you. I'm walking around, and I'm getting evicted. I'm walking around. I got a little duffel bag. I got a T-shirt in there, and I got a 9mm, and I'm a danger to society, and I don't know what to do. And what I finally did is I came back to Alcoholics Anonymous. I fessed up to my sponsor, Steve. He made me tell my AA brothers, which was extremely humiliating. And then I had to get busy, and nobody had to tell me what to do. I had to do everything that I wasn't willing to do before. And in this group, that's a lot. It's the watches. It's the moves. Everything was busy back then. It was commitments. I even went to the stupid baby shower because I was so desperate. I was desperate to feel better. I worked the steps diligently. I made my amends. I did so much, and then I was up there and at the podium. I felt so great, and I said, "Oh my God, I can feel my defects of character just drifting away." And all the old timers are just shaking their heads and laughing, and I know what they mean now. I thought that I could graduate from Alcoholics Anonymous if I did the steps just right. If I just put the right things down, I could do it just like a course. I know how to do that. That's not what happened. I've heard people say, Clancy said it, you throw in the towel, then you take it back, and you give it back, ripping one little piece off at a time until you finally have to throw in the towel in again. That's my story. So I wasn't willing to do, but now I'm back in the group. Now I'm doing all the things that I needed to do, like I said. And I started feeling better. I started doing better. I started taking direction. I went back to school. I got a job. I went back and finished my degree at UCLA. I was the valedictorian of my class. After 14 years of school, my parents finally got to see me graduate. I went on and I went on to get a master's degree. I was very lucky. I got into an apprenticeship program in the movie business. I had a really good career in the movie business. But the bottom line is, I learned how to live that way in Alcoholics Anonymous. I worked many, many hours, many, many months. But when I was off work, I was here constantly. And thank God for all the extra things we do in this group, because I needed those special extra things to keep me grounded in my sobriety. And those were the things that I do today. You know, people get sick of me talking about, but that's the serious basis of my whole life and my sobriety, all the extra things that we have here in Pacific Group that I was able to do. You know, I was in the Army, and you guys want to go camping. I'm not going camping with a bunch of losers who don't know what the hell they're doing out there. I know what to do. You know, so I show up and I'm like, oh, you forgot your sugar? I guess you're drinking coffee without sugar. Sorry, I got some. I started doing the shows, you know. Clancy was the director, and he would spit carrots at us, you know, because he's talking at you and he's trying to eat at the same time. And I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? And then I should be the star in my mind, and I'm like one of the 7 shortcomings. I have to be on my knees and, you know, recite this crazy lines that he's giving me, and it was brutal. But I felt a part of. I learned to keep my mouth shut. I learned to do what he asked me to do, you know, and I learned to respect that man. And that has been a life-changing experience for me. You know, now I continue to do those things. You know, those are the things I love to do in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, I started getting more involved in that, and now I direct the plays. You know, you see them. Now I run the camping trips, you know. We show up in the mountains with, like, there's been places where we've had 75 people sitting around the fire, and the ranger walks up and he's whoa, because we're so quiet and we're having a meeting. And there's no way that we should be quiet in the forest. We should be ripping down the trees and burning the whole place down to the ground, because that's what I do when I'm drinking and using. Don't get me wrong. I mean, my role in this group, for whatever reason, has been I've had to say no to a lot of people. I had to say, no, you can't drag that redwood tree down with a chain and bring it over to the fire pit. No, you can't climb that cliff because it says right there, no climbing. You know, no, you cannot not learn your lines and then show up and expect us all to just deal with your behavioral problems on the stage, you know. But I'm going to tell you, I have learned so much by doing the things I've done here in the Pacific Group. I mean, take it from the people that have experienced the wrath of Jeff back in the day, you know. I've changed a lot because I've had to make amends, because I've had to change my behavior, because I felt uncomfortable in the way that I acted, you know. Thank God for Alcoholics Anonymous. And thank God for the Pacific Group. You know, today, some of the most gratifying things for me in my sobriety are this. You know, we went camping, and I was teaching kids how to fish. I taught their parents how to fish. I'm teaching kids how to make a fire, you know? That's a gift of sobriety, that I can actually be that person that shares that with them. Shares that, you know, we get newcomers. Some people come out there, they've never been out in the woods their whole life. They've been in the hood. They don't even know what it's like to be under an open sky. You know, this last show, I got people coming in, they got 30 years, they've never done anything like that in their life, and they're walking through the fear. You saw him, Steve. He did a great job up there. Darrell did a great job. These are the people that I get to spend time with because of Alcoholics Anonymous and show them something about how life can be better in sobriety, you know, especially here. The greatest gift I've gotten here is from working the steps. You know, I have diligently worked the steps several times, and I've gotten those results. I never thought I would. I was a skeptic. I thought you had to take mushrooms to have a spiritual experience. You know, I would take mushrooms when I would try and break glass with my mind, you know. Show me something that the universe, that's something special, and I'm just not a cog in a wheel, you know. And I've gotten that here, you know, shockingly enough, you know. I've had profound spiritual experiences here in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know. When my dad died, we were up camping, you know, and I I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't a dream. I just had like a white light experience. I know not everybody gets that, and I don't even feel like I deserve that, but I had it. And it was because I was open to that, because I did the work and did the spiritual basics to have a connection with a higher power. If you're new or if you're used, I can tell you that having a connection with my higher power has made me realize that there's nothing that can really hurt me in this life. Everything's going to be okay. If I leave myself open to that spiritual connection, I know right now, in this moment, everything's okay. And that was never like that. It was so anxiety-ridden and disrupted that I had to do anything I could. I had to shop. I had to drink. I had to use people. I had to have sex. I had to do whatever it took to make me feel calm and cool and collected inside. Now, I know for some of you it's pretty hard to believe that I ever feel calm and cool and collected. But the fact of the matter is I do. When I'm meditating, when I'm in the zone, I feel the presence of God. I feel the presence of love. I feel the presence of you. But I realize that that's not my natural situation here. I need something to help me get there, and that's the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. I feel today that, like I was saying, I had that experience, and I had this huge white light experience, and I feel the presence of God, and I feel like there's a guardian on my shoulder, and I wake up in the morning, and I just pop up, like I just landed, and I look outside the tent, and some guy stirring the fire, and I go, that son of a, he's going to put smoke all over the campsite, And I got to tell you, the realization I had right then was that I could be in nirvana. And as soon as I come back and I'm in my human form, my regular form, my alcoholic form, all that stuff's out the window. Just like I have to hear chapter 5 read every time because I forget it as soon as I hear it. My alcoholism is trying to drive me into a ditch, and I have to work really, really hard to counter that. And you guys have given me the tools to do that. That's Alcoholics Anonymous. Those tools are right here for you if you're new. And it doesn't seem like that's a solution to your problem. When I got here, my problem was, I want money, I want a hot chick, I want fame, I want fortune, I want to be loved by everybody. Whatever, I want it all. How do I do that? Sponsor, show me how I get that. Don't tell me I need to go sweep the floor or set up the chairs. That is not going to get me to where I want to go. But if I really got to where I wanted to go and I got everything I ever wanted, I'd probably be dead right now. And what I have today is far greater than what I thought I wanted. I'm in a good relationship. I can be trusted. I'm of service. I can go out by myself and I can feel calm and have a great time. I pay my bills. I pay my taxes. Who ever thought that was the things that I really wanted in life? I wanted excess, and I have like normal most of the time. Last night, I thought I was going to have to evacuate. There's fires up there by my house. And so I packed my bags, put my hard drives in there. I didn't want to, don't want to lose all the show stuff that I'm editing right now. But I realized as I looked around that I don't need any of that stuff. Because I have Alcoholics Anonymous. I have God. So I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm always going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. I don't know where you get that, except here. And I'm so, so glad that I've been lucky enough to be shown here how to get that in my life. Because nothing could fix me. There was never enough. And today I feel there is, and I'm enough. I don't want to be anybody else but me today. And that's a miracle, because I always wanted what you had. I thought you were better than me. You had more than me. You were more talented than me. You deserved it better than me. It's a good life in Alcoholics Anonymous. If you're new, you can have that. We are willing to give that to you. Sometimes it seems like we're shoving it down your throat. But sometimes, for me, I need to hear it. You know, I love my sponsor, Steve, and I've learned so much over the years from him. But when I first had him, and then I switched to Jim Jackson, because I felt like Steve wasn't harsh enough. I felt like I kept hanging myself. He was giving me too much rope. And when I asked Jim Jackson what to do, he said, just keep doing what you're doing. I wanted to blow my brains out. But that's my path. I've had to learn by my mistakes, you know, and I've made plenty, you know, but I was taught here how to make amends, you know. I was taught here how to clean up my side of the street so that I can live comfortably. And that's the sign of growth for me right now, is if I do something bad, or if I piss somebody off, or I feel like I'm going to do something sketchy, I feel uncomfortable. That was not the way it was in the past. I could get away with that stuff, you know. I'm going to tell you, this group has saved my life. It means so much to me. The old-timers that showed me the way. I was so blessed to spend a lot of time with Clancy, especially when we were doing the plays and directing the plays. Somebody told me, oh, while you were up there yelling at people, Clancy was sitting in the chair, and he said, that guy's arrogant. You know what? That was a compliment coming from that man. My life is so good today. I'm retired. Who would have thought that would have happened, you know? I retired because I put in the work. I worked hard. You know, it was a grueling job, but I was able to get through that, and now I have time to do the things I want to do. And you know what? The things I want to do are, you see them. I want to go camping with you guys. I want to take the newcomers out. Show them how to have a good time in sobriety. I want to continue to do the plays and show people how to do that, and continue the traditions of this group so that we can continue to have the life that we have here. You know, it's a lot of work. I always say, my mom used to say, when are you going to stop doing those stupid things? And I was like, I tell you every year I'm not doing it again, and yet I kept doing it. I don't know. I'm just a crazy alcoholic. But yeah, I want to thank you all for my sobriety. I've got a good life today, and it's all because of Alcoholics Anonymous and because of the Pacific Group. Thanks for letting me share.